Guys, how you all doing? So I want to kind of talk about something I've been working on is learning how to be intentional. So this can be applied to like being intentional in your own life, such as being intentional how you talk in front of the camera, or what you do in the morning, or even when you make your videos, or when you outreach to clients. And that's something I'm trying to learn how to do these days. Like even like the way how I talk. Like I'm trying to be intentional how I use my vocabulary, for example, or being intentional recording this video. It's even like having the lighting set up, even the photography prints, and that's something I want to start doing more this year. It's having more attention to detail, because a lot of people go through life through autopilot, and the reason why they go their life through autopilot is because they don't have a direction in life. And when you don't have a direction, you kind of go with the flow and you just go with whatever goes out your way, right? But then when you start living your life with intention, then you start having more direction, then you start having more clarity. That's the only way you actually achieve what you want in life. It's being intentional. For example, right? In order to be intentional, you kind of have to take action, right? Like for example, now I might be contradicting myself. Like for example, when I used to make content, or when I used to do things in certain ways in my own life, I used to just take action and just go from there. That's what I used to. That was kind of my mindset, and that's a good way of approach, right? Because the only way you learn is through taking action and figuring out on the way. But the problem is that once you start doing that too often, you're gonna have to start being intentional. And the only way you can start being intentional is when you have data, when you have like information that can back what you have done, and then you can start being intentional. Like for example, let's say you want to get better at starting this YouTube channel, right? The first thing you need to do is just post, right? You just need to get in the room just posting, all right? That's the only way you get better at it. You got to post consistently, just post. But then over time, when you start posting, then you have to start being intentional in terms of, okay, I've been posting for a bit. Why I'm not getting any views? Why I'm not getting any leads towards my business? Then you can start being intentional, and then you can start figuring out, okay, what direction I need to do to get there, because that's the only way you can really get there, if that makes sense. But because sometimes myself, or sometimes you guys, sometimes you might go through life through autopilot. For example, you might sometimes start doing things for the sake of doing things. And that's a common thing I do a lot for my own life sometimes. Like sometimes I start posting content for the sake of just posting content. And I'm just like, or for the sake of creating content. And then after a while, I'm always asking myself, why am I doing this? Like right now, I've been doing a bit of outreaching, and I've been kind of just struggling with how I'm gonna like pitch to clients, because recently I've been like, because beforehand when I was outreaching, I was so used to just like spamming it, like just doing like a copy and paste email and just change up like, change a few things, keep sending it. But now I'm at this point where I need to stop like, just outreaching for the sake of outreaching. Like I need to like sometimes slow down, actually think, okay, is this getting to the goal I want in life? Because if it's not getting to the goal, then you should stop outreaching, because what's the point, right? It's the same thing when you're making content, right? Like there's a period where I start posting content for the sake of posting, right? But after a while, you got to be somewhat intentional, like, okay, is this leading towards the results I want? Because if it's not leading to the results, then you got to actually kind of slow down and pivot what's your next move. And the only way you can really do it is by just like kind of slowing down. Like for example, maybe like every at the end of the day, or at the end of the week, kind of just reflect and start seeing like, okay, is this the direction I'm really going towards? If it's not, then I better start pivoting. Because it happens a lot. Because sometimes there's periods where I just let kind of random distractions come to my life and don't have really any intentions behind it. Like for example, there's periods where I go to random, let's say, networking events for the sake of going to a networking events, because I was like, oh, I'm going to network, but then I realize I don't get any clients because I just end up going there fucking around and start talking to people, which is, that's why I don't get any clients. That's why sometimes I don't get clients for going to network events. But if I go to, say, to a networking event with intention, let's say to get like a fucking client, let's say to get like a paid client, then I have to go with that mindset. But sometimes I go never just for the sake of just going there and not even having any thought. And I end up wasting money and I'm wasting time, which kind of learned. But the only way you learn this is by actually taking action in the first place. That's the only way you learn it. So what I mean is that you got to start being more intentional in terms of the life you want to get. Because if you're not intentional, then you just let life just go in autopilot. Like before you know it, you're gonna be 30. Before you know it, you're 40. You gotta start like being very particular how you want things to do. But that's why sometimes, and that's something I kind of lack, because sometimes I get distracted. Because I get distracted from moving towards my goals. Like next to me, like you have a mate who wants to go hang out, and I always ask myself, is this aligned with my goals, or this is a form of cope? Now, I'm not telling you should go to your friends if they don't align your goals. But if you have fulfillment, like hanging out, then yeah, go for it. But at the same time, you got to start thinking in a way. Okay, is this leading towards the results I want? Is this leading towards where I want to become? It's like, for example, when you start going to the gym, right? It's the exercise I'm doing is leading towards the dream physique I want to get to. Because if it's not leading to the dream physique I'm doing, then you need to change it up. And that's something I actually need to work on. Because recently I've been going to the gym, but I feel like I haven't made as much progress because I feel like I haven't been like on the specific diet. I haven't been intentional with the diet, intentional with like what I want. So that's why you got to start living your life. And yeah, it's going to be pretty hard. It is hard to live your life like that. But at the same time, that's the only way you can get the life you want. Like if you think about every like successful billionaire or millionaire, they're very intentional. They're very intentional of what they do. They're intentional like who they hang out, the food they eat, who they do business with. They're very intentional. They have the whole calendar scheduled because they're very intentional what they're going to do. Like every single time of the day, they have something on, like boom, 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 boom. You know, if you don't have your life scheduled in a calendar, then you're just going to go whatever the flow is. You're just going to go in autopilot and you don't get shit done. If that makes sense. That's why a lot of successful people in general have they're very intentional what they put on a calendar. And the only way you do this is having clarity and having direction where you want to go. And most people live their life kind of like in autopilot. Most people do live their life knowing, like going with the flow. And that's what happens when you live your life with going with the flow. You just end up just fucking going all over the place. That's why sometimes you need clarity. You need like have a goal and figure out how you can get there. So I thought I'll just make this kind of video as a way to help someone out there, because I don't know, because right now I just been thinking about what I'm going to do today, because I just finished like editing my YouTube videos, and now I'm starting to be very intentional in terms of which direction I want to go towards. So hope this helps, and yeah, see ya, bye.